Welcome to Coffee with Kristel. So yes, I'm going to have to start wearing glasses so I can see my screen better. But today is about coffee time. And let's bring this down one moment. I actually wanted to share with you today what's in my coffee. So this is homemade. We have some Cafe Bustelo, some zero sugar coffee mates. I know those are not the healthiest thing. And then also classic caramel, also zero sugar, which I know what they put in there. But it's just so I can have a beautiful, amazing coffee time with you guys. So thank you for joining me on this Thursday Coffee Talk with Kristel. 4 topics, market related, mortgage related. And then the fifth one, if you're not into my hoo-hoo thing, my mystical life, then drop off right after the fourth one. But I invite you to stay and just kind of hear from a curious mind. So topic number one, 5 years ago. So let me actually share this. There we go. The best time to buy a home is always 5 years ago, said by Ray Brown. So, if you could go back 5 years, what would you tell yourself about real estate? So, most people are waiting for the perfect time. Rates scare them, headlines confuse them, and stop staring at. Okay. And the fear of making the wrong move keeps them frozen. Scared of making a move, so I'm not going to do anything. But 5 years later, they almost always say, I wish I had started. Hindsight, those type of comments. So today's market may not look perfect, but neither did it about 5 years ago. Every time we can look back and see what 5 years ago looked like. The only difference is the people who moved then are still sitting on equity right now. So, if you want to know what buying would look like for you right now, go ahead and message below. Plan, PLAN. Let's go ahead and run the numbers with you where there's no pressure, just want to bring clarity. It may actually not be the right time for you, but it may also be the right time. And if it's not the right time, what do? I give you a plan on how to be ready for home ownership. If you are an investor, and you are ready to invest, but you're scared, is this the right time? Do I need to wait for a crash? Let's talk about the equity in your home, how you can already use what you have in leverage and not necessarily use your savings so that you can go ahead and invest in this new property. So let's go ahead and sit with today's statement about the best time to buy a home is always 5 years ago. So don't wait 5 years from now and say, I wish I had. Take action, educate yourself, come to those lives, listen to information. As I mentioned last week, any information you're receiving, see how it fits inside your space. Get unstuck, speak to experts, people who have your best interest at heart. So if you want to know what buying a home will look like for you right now, go ahead and message me, plan, and I'll run the numbers with you. We'll create a Zoom call and then I'll go over the numbers with you. Credit, income, assets, what's needed so we can achieve that plan. Okay. Topic number 2. I'm actually going to share another image today. 1 second as I share that. The real dream, opening your eyes each morning with a space that feels like home. This one decision 24 years ago changed my entire life. Many people chase someone else's vision of success. They compare, they doubt themselves, and think their dream has to match the market, has to match family patterns, their friends, or like I said, their family. I kind of did follow my mother footstep, I won't lie there. But that turned out to be why, and I will share this story about when I turned 24. But I also first want to say home is something that's personal. That's why, where is it? Right here. Sacred Home with Kristel. I would like to engage you into making your journey of home ownership owning your home a sacred journey. Because owning a home, a physical home, is one aspect of Sacred Home with Kristel. It's the continuous of the journey of feeling home authentically of who you are. So by just taking that step that feels like success to you of having a house over your roof, investing in real estate, all of those aspects of what real estate provides is one way. It's one external way to have that home feeling. But then the other amazing feeling is when you feel at home with yourself. Okay. That I'm okay even just by myself. Okay. But today I still want to go ahead and focus on the real estate part. So at 24, my dream was simple. I wanted my place to stay, which is a roof over my head, because when I came to the US, I was renting a room to make the housing cost less expensive. I was a student. But when I got my first job as a loan processor in 1998, in 1999, I went ahead and bought my first home. So I wanted my first property to also be an income producing property. So I bought it and I house hacked and I still own it. From 1999 to now, I still own that home. That home gives me a monthly cash flow, and I've used it by taking out the equity, reinvesting it in projects, and it still gives me a cash flow. Let me actually share an image of some of those real estate properties that I have myself invested in. They were all in Georgia. So on the yellow one is my first house. It's the one that I still own, still it's been like the best first one investment at 24 years old. Then I bought a duplex. Um, I went to old images. I could have probably just had them all one by one, but a duplex, that was my goals. Again, income producing property. So I lived on one side and I rented the other side. And then I bought a townhouse. That townhouse, you can't really tell, but in the back, there is a basement. Wooded, as you can see with the trees, but I basically finished the basement, had an external door, and my brother lived there when so actually the house, the yellow one, is in DeKalb County, Decatur. Then I moved closer to work, and that was in Swanee, Georgia, when you could drive to Swanee, and it was like so country, there was not much around. But the drive was too much. So I ended up buying the duplex. Unfortunate circumstances happened where somebody tried to break into that property twice when I was there, so I had to move out right away. So I actually owned that duplex where I occupied one side for a very short amount of time. And this is a story for another time where I will tell you, go drive through your area of purchase at night, during the day, and get a feel for the environment. It's totally fine. My friend ended up moving there. She knew what happened to me, but I was single going to school and it just did not work out. I just didn't like. But what it did, instead of being, well, I was scared, but instead of staying in the fear and freezing, I ended up also deciding to buy my next house. Like, you know what? I can't stay here. I'm going to have to buy next house. And I got an exception to move to another property as my primary residence within less than 1 year because I had actually police reports. So this is like a interesting story because within a year of owning that duplex, which was my primary residence, who rented one side, I bought this townhome, which was only 3 miles from my job. And like I mentioned before, sharing all of this tangent of that story of the duplex, um, I finished the basement, created a one-bedroom apartment for my brother to move in because his job also moved him closer to me. Still, actually, this was ended up being in Duluth. And that property, I ended up eventually moving. I mean, I got married. We lived there, my former husband and I, for less than a year, I think. And then we bought this other home on the top left square. And this was a five-bedroom house. He was in the same mindset as I was. Let's go ahead and buy real estate and house hack. So that property was a five-bedroom house with a basement. You would think, well, Kristel is buying just the biggest homes. No, it's not the intention. I actually have each room rented. Of course, I have um, a stepdaughter who had her own room. I had guest room, but then there was one room that I started to rent, and I'm like, you know what? Making good money doing this. This is paying great amount of money. I mean, great portion of the mortgage, and then we were planning on finishing the basement, but we didn't end up doing that because we eventually our marital status changed, and when we decided to no longer be in that house, things changed, marital status changed. I moved to Florida in 2017 and I started traveling. I actually went to South America for 3 months and then decided Florida, I need to be closer to the water. So I started traveling and exploring the world. So that rental income of this property that I told you I still have, it now covers part of my short-term housing while I'm on the move, which by the way, right now I'm in Sarasota. Um, for 5 months, I was in Guadeloupe with my family, being closer for some personal reasons. Then Arizona, Mount Shasta, like all those places, New Hampshire. So since 2023, I've actually been traveling every few months, and I'm currently in a home here in Sarasota. So that rental income now covers part of my short-term housing while I'm on the move. And by the way, everywhere I go, except for this one because I did not really pack all those little personal things, but everywhere I go, even if it's only for a few months, I do have some special pieces of items that I bring with me because I love orange. You can see the colors, orange, yellow, like that brightness. So I will have some portable items that I can hang around to make it feel home. I'm sharing all that because the topic is about home, right? To make it feel home. But your dream doesn't have to look like anything like mine, which some people say, oh my gosh, I love what you do. You're traveling. But tell you something, it is not for everybody to have a new bed, which I'm having to adjust right now, the pillow, which in the last year, I did travel actually with my pillow, but this time it's shorter, so I'm not coming with all this. But it is an adjustment, and not everybody is as flexible. Sometimes I even ask myself why. But then I love the discovery. But again, coming back to you, my dream doesn't have to look like anything like yours. So you want to honor your dream, which actually before getting on this call, Irene, who is my assistant and works with me, and we have an amazing relationship, which only started working together this year. We always share when we start our wins or things that we're grateful for. But today was a little bit special because there's a family member that passed away. I've mentioned in the last calls, I have lost my stepdaughter. And on Sunday, I got on Facebook, and there's another person very close, a teacher, who also passed away in transition. So I'm mentioning that not to be sobby on this call, is to remind you if you do have a dream, we think we have time. What was my first message? We think 5 years later, we look and we're like, oh, I could have done, or I did this, right? So we think we have all of the future in the world. When we look at my grandmother who was 102 and I'm about to be 50, like, yeah, you got 15 more years to go, but that's not guaranteed. So I want to really emphasize if you have a dream, go ahead and start living your dream, creating that dream for yourself. You want to surround yourself with people like myself, because I am living life by design. It's not always perfect. It's not about perfection, but it's really moving towards the desires that you have. So for you, a home could be a place where your kids grow up. When I was married, that was one of the intention. Life changes. You might at some point be downsizing. So a condo in the city may be the thing that you start creating for yourself because you've always wanted to live in the city, but that wasn't the best scenario for raising a family. Now you start planning for that. Or you want a quiet home in the suburbs. Or you want to start building a starter home to build equity like I did. Okay, so your dream is yours. And sometimes we don't really know what's at the core of our dream, or it's only later, it's like, wow, I didn't realize this was my dream. I always wanted to be a landlord, I thought, because I saw my mother with real estate properties, and actually both sides of my family were their landlords. So that was also my intention, my desire. But then as I kept on evolving in life, I have a deeper dream. Mine is sacred home with Kristel. It's sacred home with me. And that is not just a material aspect of it, it's also the spiritual one. But I am still in lending, so I still get to help you with that dream. So all of those dreams in the city, for the family, with the yard, with the pool, whatever those dreams are, you have the opportunity to make them come alive. You have not pressure, I would say, but it's the reason why you're here, is to come and create the dream, make it manifest, or actually bring it to life. So you want to surround yourself with judgment-free zone, like myself. Come and comment below dream. And let's go ahead and talk about your dream. It may not be something you do right now because you're like, well, Kristel, my dream is so big that I won't be able to do this. Well, if you keep saying that, it won't happen. So again, a dream is something that we dream, we think at night, but it's how do we make it from a dream to a reality, to stepping stones? And I'm here to help you with that. So let's create a plan. And it doesn't have to be a plan with you can do a vision board. We also invite you to do it with numbers, because the truth about the numbers also makes a difference. Or what do I need to do differently? What do I need to adjust so I can achieve that dream? So again, comment, dream, and let's make that dream become stepping stones that becomes a reality, a life by design. Okay. This coffee is actually pretty good. That classic caramel here, give it a little softness there. Okay, topic number 3. Did I have a slide to share? No, no slides. So, topic number 3, Florida homes are sitting longer. And here's the opportunity. By the way, I'm going to go ahead and cover Georgia and Florida. So I'm going to start with Florida because I'm in Sarasota right now. So people don't know what to trust anymore. Is the market crashing? Are prices going up or are they going down? Is this a good time or is it a worst time? So most people feel overwhelmed, so they do nothing. To be honest, even as a lender, I feel overwhelmed and I don't stay in the overwhelm. Just using the terminology that people have. Are the rates going to stay up, stay down? What are we doing? What is the market doing? Like, we do have to look at all of this, but I don't want you to stay stuck with all of it, right? This is information given to you, but then you get to discern, okay, my dream, my desire, how do I make myself in alignment based on the current circumstances and still achieve my goal versus freezing and do nothing? So let's start with, I mentioned Florida. So Florida, the state of Florida, the homes are taking longer to sell, just in general. So buyers finally have leverage. What does this mean? Because the longer the home stays on the market, the more you can come and knock, knock, seller. Your home has been on the market for a period of time, so I'm willing to purchase, but you have to reduce the price. You have to negotiate. I encourage you more in negotiating closing costs so that you can either buy the rate down and have a lesser cost in when you move into the house. But inventory, on average, the huge state of Florida is about 207,000 homes for sale. So homes are taking longer to sell. A median of about 98 days on the market. Again, the state of Florida. So check your area, it may be different. Price growth is slowing or actually dipping slightly in some areas and maybe more in others. Again, we're just talking in general Florida. Now we see more seller concessions, especially new constructions. New construction has been the case for a while. So Florida is still sought after, but buyers now have leverage. Sunny state, sunshine state. So I'm in Sarasota, so I wanted to go ahead and tell you. So there's a high demand and there's more inventory, negotiation power. Sarasota area closed up about 19 to 22% year over year. New listings up 12 to 27%. Prices either holding or dipping slightly. There's a strong demand in lifestyle, which is kind of why I'm checking it out here, and short-term rental segments. Because it's very, from just being here, I got here on the 9th. On the 9th? I don't remember when I got here. It just feels so home actually already. So Sarasota with the beach activities around here actually was around the Sands Castle built on Sunday. They always have so many fun activities. So it's a lifestyle, but it's also because it's the beach area. Short-term rentals housing is definitely an opportunity if you're an investor. Or If you currently live in a different state and you like to have a second home in Florida, that is definitely a place that you can have a second home. Let me redefine what a second home is. A second home is a property that you will occupy yourself from time to time, but you can also rent it and have income, just not a permanent 365 days a year, short term. So let's talk about, not right now, but book a call with me and let's talk about second home, how you can qualify for one. Um, let's see, Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale because I live in Fort Lauderdale for since 2018 and it's been basically my residence. So it's great single opportunities. Condos, however, you need scrutiny. Scrutiny. Oh my gosh, Kristel, you use a word, you can even say it correctly. Condos also need to be looked into deeper because just the state of Florida in general, the condos are more challenging to qualify for. There's special guidelines when it comes to condos in Florida because somehow people who were buying in Florida a long time ago, they were either buying cash and they basically it's like, when we need to fix certain common areas, we'll go ahead and pay for it out of pocket. We don't need to have a budget or reserve. So a lot of condos here do not have the reserve, so they can't really fix properties. But it's a lower price point. So a lot of people starting like, hey, I'm going to buy this as my primary residence. Well, those type of purchases we need financing have a lot stricter guidelines. So Florida has special guidelines. So let's see, what else can I say? Okay, so Fort Lauderdale. So strong performance for well-located single-family homes. Definitely have a lot of cash purchases in the Fort Lauderdale area. Condos require, of course, like I mentioned, insurance is more expensive. The HOAs, because of the 40, 50-year inspections, have pushed and required condominiums to do an assessment, a reassessment on their condos in order to have impact windows, fix the structure of the home. So HOAs are more expensive, and guess what? You have to qualify with what the HOA fees are now, not just what it used to be. So that's why it's making it more difficult to buy a condo. But the overall market's slower due to affordability and the cost of ownership there. All right, so that was Florida. Now let's step into Georgia. Why Georgia? Because I lived in Georgia. It was the first state I lived in when I moved in 1993. This kind of gives some bits and pieces about me and my journey through all of this. So Georgia prices have softened, but are softer, but inventory is up. So you have more choices. Again, that means you can negotiate better. So median price 369,500, which is down about 1.5%. Inventory is up about 9.5%, and far fewer bidding wars. Market is stabilizing after 2 intense years. So what does that mean for you as a purchaser or even an investor in Georgia? You have more options, less frenzy, and you have more time and space to actually strategize. Specifically in the Atlanta metro area, it's still a seller-leaning market, but it's becoming softer. Actually, this is property I just got, in Walton, Georgia, $10,000 in seller concessions. So, and that's becoming more and more common where seller concessions are given. So again, step into the market now. Inventory has leveled off. Many sub-markets seeing price adjustments. And of course, and this one also was a price adjustment. They had it for, I think, 435,000 in the Walton. I just got the contract yesterday. And it was 435, but initially it was listed at 440, and the contract is 430. Okay, so you can see adjustments and still $10,000 a concession and commission paid by the seller. So this means for you as a potential buyer that you have more room for negotiation, and of course that also means for you a seller, because how long are the homes staying? I didn't really have that number how long it stays on the market in Georgia, but we saw in Florida in general it's about 98 days. So you want to price your home where it's going to sell. I still hear realtors say, well, I just placed a house on the market, but the sellers are just not listening. I told them what the price should be, and they still want to go for higher. So listen to your realtor. They're the experts. Of course, listen to your insights too. So have the happy medium, right? But definitely price right not to keep the house on the market longer. So if you want more updates, actually, based on your area, you own a home and you would like to have some updates on your home in general and receive a report for the area that you live in, just go ahead and message me home report. I do have a free service that you receive monthly, a home report based on your zip code, your area, and see what the market is doing. It will start to tell you the insights of this is more for seller market. You can have that information if you're intending to sell in well, maybe even December or 2026, but also just to know more or less how is your investment doing. Don't stay um like how can I say that in a nice way? Don't always look at it and say, oh my gosh, my house is doing this. Oh my gosh, like in panic. This is just to get a feel for it. You have a roof over your head, or this property is an investment. Like mine went through 2008 crash and went to almost no value to still giving me a cash flow. So it's the soft way to keep track of what your home is doing in a specific timeline. Okay, so message me home report and I will connect you to receive this report monthly. Okay. We are moving into topic number 4. As I've shared, I love real estate investment. So you don't have to choose between keeping your low rate and growing your wealth. So that is the number one struggle for current homeowners. I have a low interest rate, Kristel. Why am I going to move from this low rate to go rate in the sixes? So I want a bigger home or I want an investment home, but I don't want to lose my low rate. So what do? I feel stuck. I'm like, I don't want to let go of that home. But then a lot of times people don't realize that their equity can actually unlock some options. And I'm so grateful for my clients who come and ask the question out of curiosity. It's like, you've been sending me this home report. I have access to the equity. What can I do? What specifically works for me or what is possible for me? So, and they don't sometimes realize that they can qualify for another property using the equity in their home. So you don't have to start over. You simply need to have a strategy. Equity reviews, I can go over the HELOCs, the line of credit options. If you're not a fan of the HELOC because you look, Kristel, I don't like to know that my mortgage payment is going to change. The second mortgage, right? My second lien is going to change. There are some HELOans. You don't have to just do a HELOC. I love HELOC and I can do a one-on-one with you and explain to you why. But that doesn't mean I'm going to say, well, I love it, so you got to do it. A HELOan may be better for you. Um, there can be some blended plans that we can talk about. Like I have a client right now who is, she has over $249,000 that she can pull out of the property. We financing up to a total of 80 to 85% of the value. So she still has a lot of equity. I'm not asking you to max out your equity. You take it only a percentage usually is up to 80 to 85% of the total loan. So your current loan plus the equity that we're pulling out, you still have equity. Okay. So we're not doing the 100% and you have no equity left. If you needed to sell the property and say, well, I'm maxed out, I'm not going to make any more money. No. HELOCs and HELoans have a maximum total loan amount. So we want to be in this conversation and see, for instance, with this client where they've been very interested in investing in real estate. They have money saved, but they basically said, well, I don't want to just take my savings or tap into my 401k. What else can I do? So now they'll qualify for a HELOC that's $249,000. Yeah, 249. That's why 250. The numbers are stuck with me. That's why I said it. So 249,000. Right now, they really just want about $60,000 to invest into their first project. They're still working with their realtor Jefferson to define what is that first investment going to be. And in my conversation with them, I basically opened the Panda box, the Pandora Pandora, Pandora box. I'm trying to use American expressions and my brain just kind of shortened the words. So the Pandora box of possibilities, and they get to decide, okay, you know what? Do I want to go ahead and do a fix and flip? Not really for them. They want to purchase and hold so they can have a cash flow coming in monthly. And I mean, with 249,000, there are some potential investment properties that they can purchase cash using this HELOC so they can make the offer. The property may be whatever state of what do you call it, like the so few repairs that maybe as a loan I may have to ask them to fix when they buy cash. They do as they wish, and then they go ahead and fix it. And from that one property being purchased, we can go ahead and refinance it, take the money out, and then replenish the line of credit and do it again. Right? So if you want to like, wait, rewind, Kristel, say that again. Well, you can rewind here, but you can book a call with me and I can go over that strategy with you. And so let's say you don't have as much equity and you just have about, let's say, $100,000 that you can pull out. Same thing. We can take that money. We can go ahead and invest into use as a down payment in your reserve necessary for your investment. Okay, now you hold to this property. Maybe you do a fix and flip, or maybe you go ahead and do a purchase a home that you are holding for the cash flow. Now, remember, we talked about the dreams, right? This is not the dream home of like, oh, I want all the lush everything, because it's an investment. The numbers have to make sense, cash flow. The numbers have to make sense, even the potential of earning equity. Okay. But sometimes my perspective and my experience, it's not always about just the equity you're going to get, because my one first home that I still have, when the market crashed in 2008, I had bought it for 130,000. It was literally hurt my heart. It was selling for about $30,000. Yes, 30. So I was upside down. But I did not just hold on to the fact that it was upside down. I looked at, well, I'm still making money monthly. And eventually the market will change. So, and it did. And I pulled out the equity when it did. And I invested into other projects. And it still has a cash flow. So strategies are based, and by the way, just a little personal preference. When it comes to properties, I think they've changed the terminology. I have to look it up. I love split foyers. I just saw one of the realtors on my Facebook who just sold one. This is like when you go up the stairs, you have like 3 bedrooms and kitchen and all that. And then downstairs, you have, it's not a basement. So it's actually cheaper than if you buy a home on a basement. And because when you arrive, the garage, it's a main floor. It's not a basement. But then you go upstairs, you have the living area, as I mentioned, and then downstairs, what I did with mine is that I turned the back of it into a 1 bedroom apartment, and I have another room, and I do a house hike. So it's rented to an apartment as tenant, and then the others are roommates and amazing cash flow. So if you'd like to know some of my strategies, I'm not going to just say what my strategies are. I'm going to listen to what your goals are, because you may not want to have so many tenants. So it's again, we'll listen to what you are looking to do. Open your mind to new possibilities, but then also we run the numbers. And numbers are very important when it comes to investing in real estate. Numbers as far as the purchase, what it's going to be worth, but also your potential cash flow. So let's see, what else do I want to talk about? So anyways, on this specific topic, I got so passionate about this whole investment. So you want to go ahead and not stay stuck in, I have a low rate, because guess what? That property that has a low rate, you could potentially rent it and have an amazing cash flow. Use the equity also, buy your next home, buy that next property that you move in, right? Even if the rates are higher. Eventually, because it's your primary residence, when the rates go even lower, you could refinance it, or this remains your primary residence for a long period of time, or you just keep it for about a year or two and make it a rental. All right. So think strategies. Now, this isn't for somebody who says, well, I just want my one home and I don't want anything else. That's fine. That's nothing wrong. That's your dream. But I'm speaking right now to those who want to own real estate and how to do it with strategies. And I partner up with realtors who love to also work with investors. So if you like to book a call with me, Not if you like, book a call with me. Go ahead and set up a call. Let's chat. Let's talk about your dreams. Let's talk about, not waiting for 5 years from now. Let's go ahead and start having plans now and take action. So I'm action driven. So definitely the right person to connect with. All right. This is where we end the, how am I going to call this? The market update, the real estate, getting used to having to wear glasses. And then coffee talk with Kristel. But we're not going to end here because, as I have mentioned before, I also utilize this time to um, have this last part. And that is the other part of me, which is that mystical, spiritual, sacred home with Kristel. So drop off if this is too much for you. And stay tuned as I'm going to take this coffee sip and asking you either close your eyes, but really the intention is ground yourself. Ground yourself into the present moment. Kristel shared all of this information. I just shared data about market update, Georgia, Florida. You can go ahead and look up for whatever specific area you live in. You can book a call with me. You can go and do a home report so you know specifically your area or the area that you're interested in moving in so you can see the trend of that area. So I want you to let go of all this talk and be present to either my voice that I'm going to soften because I'm also going within, inside, and allowing the breath, which is our living agent, is the breath. What would you like me to speak about? Because it's still raw, about a month ago of the transitioning of my beloved, one person who allowed me to be truly the role model of a bonus mom, which I raised when she started helping and raising and came into her life when she was 4. It's the beauty of breath because she took her last breath last month. But I'm not going to stay in that topic as far as the loss because we spoke about dreams, we spoke about investment. But right now, what is your breath inspiring to do? We take it for granted. We breathe, we wake up, the breath is still there. So, in this amazing month of Thanksgiving, giving thanks, not the day only, the month of giving thanks. What if we were to give thanks to our breath? I'm going to be silly here. It's like, how's my breath? Am I checking my breath? Do I need to do some mouthwash and check on my breath? Which, by saying that, sometimes I actually went to church on Sunday and Unity Church in Sarasota, and I had an amazing prayer chaplain. Um, the prayer was amazing, but I could feel her breath. And in that moment, it was a little bit uncomfortable, I'll be honest. It's like, well, I'm feeling her breath. Of course, moments of COVID remind you like the breath is the germs coming through the breath. But I transmuted that moment and said, this is a breath of the divine speaking to me. So I did move my head a little bit, right? So anyway, that was a little side because I get images of what comes up when we speak about certain things. I'm very much visual. And if it wasn't such a thing, I would probably move by the pool, but we'll test that for next week. So I want you to, because this is probably new for you, whoever's listening, you might want to go ahead and take your phone and under the clock, have a timer to remind ourselves to have gratitude for our breath. I have those moments when I see, I consciously see 111, 1111, 111, like one of those numbers, like, okay, it's a magical moment, and I'll take a deep breath. I would actually stop everything that I'm doing. Yesterday was at 4:44. Stop everything I'm doing. I take actually my hands and I really have this, en français would be enlacer. So it's like bringing your hands together and I bring it to my belly. And I would just stand there, either move or be grounded. Grounded basically means having 2 feet on the ground and connecting to the earth. And breathe and breathe. And allowing yourself to have, even if it's just 1 minute of breath, 1 minute of gratitude for the life right now in the present. One moment of, I'm still here living this life. Yeah, but it's a struggling life right now. But there's a light at the end. There's a light, like they say, there's a night and there's the day. So the breath, the intention is to bring life to wherever that conscious breath right now that I'm sharing is to bring life to wherever there could be tension. And that means you have to allow yourself to stop whatever you're doing, and thoughts will probably still come because if you say, I don't want to start thinking, stop thinking, Kristel, stop thinking. No, I mean, that's when I'm going to think even more. So allow the thoughts to come, but keep going through and say, where do I need a little bit more light? Like right now, it could be my lower back. Let me breathe into my lower back. Starting to be conscious of your breath. I'm not going to say every minute of the day you get to be conscious and take those actions. It's start by a clock where maybe in the morning at 11:11 or whatever time, at 3:33, those magical moments, and then start connecting and aligning with the time. Now, yes, there is a whole thing about there is no time, it's an illusion. Yeah, we're not talking about that. We're just trying to use tools that are available to us to be in the present moment. So that is what's coming through right now. It's the power of the breath. Why is this coming up? Probably because I have been consciously and intentionally doing what's called, I followed a lady who calls it the resurrection breath. And it's breathing into the belly and the heart and out. So maybe even in that moment that you have placed in your clock, you're going to take 5, 10, start with a couple and then breathe. This is actually a 1 hour that she does, and it's a meditation behind it. And my day when I do it, if I don't sleep in and I have time before I get on a call with Irene and start our day, like I did this morning, but I had to make it 45 minutes. But it's okay. I still connected with my breath. You will start feeling more in connection with your body. You will start connecting more with the divine, with source, with God, with love, with peace. Because in that, you set an intention. By the way, when in your phone, when you put that reminder, you can have a title for it, a moment of peace, a moment of freedom, because you stop everything and say, I'm going to breathe to feel free, free to choose this moment to be my breath. So, breath is something we take for granted because we were not told when well, actually, when we got slapped on the bottom to say, when we came out of the mom's womb, it's like, you gotta breathe so you can be alive, right? Some people actually have had that push to be able to breathe because they did not naturally come and breathe. And just a little side thing, I know I share sometimes too much. So my birth, December 26th, my was actually interesting, I was told, because at that time, my mother was in the hospital, she had contractions. For some reason, the lady decided she was going to go ahead and lay some carpet, even though she's pregnant. And she had been in bed for a long time because she's carrying me low. I know it's a lot of information. I just want to have fun with it though, because it's coming to my birthday pretty soon. So I do remember like how I came into this life. not remember. I'm being reminded because I don't remember. And she's in the hospital and she feels like she needs to use the bathroom just to pee. No, lady, you would not just pee. It's Kristel is coming. She's knocking at the door saying, hello, it's time to go. So she told me my mom's excuse is like, well, at those times, Kristel, they were not teaching in 1975. They were not really teaching all those things about, or maybe she didn't attend them, I don't know, birth. So I didn't know what was coming, but it was contraction, it was Kristel. So I went back in. And then they had to pull me out. So I have a little leftover right here, the back of my head of being taken out. Okay, not so brutally as I'm describing right now, as I'm being very animated. But basically, I was already on the way, and it's like, wait, I'm in the wrong place. I'm supposed to be in bed, not in the bathroom. So I do have an image of me almost like, wait, I'm coming out in this toilet. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm saying this. This is what I do the live because then it's not filtered, so we can have fun with crazy stories. But that's where I was almost about to make my first breath. Yes, in the toilet. How shameful. But then, yeah, I was born in Guadeloupe, this beautiful island, where it is super warm and December feels cooler. So FYI, if you want to go visit the islands, it's the best time is during the December, January, February time. But my first breath was actually stopped, not the potential, the first breath. And then I, the doctors had to intervene, and my first breath was December 26th, mid-morning, midday, actually. So I actually love this section because I allow myself to share, probably be young, but I probably should be sharing. The good news, my mom only speaks French, so she won't really know what I just said here. Unless she puts subtitle and it's translated, that will be fun. It's like Kristel. And then you see, by the way, my mom does put comments, Elise, and then she will put a heart or she will just do different emojis just to support me. So I'm super grateful for that. So I'm going to trust that this information about breath brought awareness about, you know what, in this month, I get to be grateful for that breath. And one last thing I'm going to add. I do think this is the last thing I'm going to add about this. When we are surrounded with friends and family in this holiday season, just in general, but right now, holiday season, where families start to trigger us, when traffic starts to trigger us, when I say trigger, I mentioned this before. It's like, oh my gosh, there goes, there's traffic. Oh my gosh, there goes all the decoration for Christmas, and we are only, that was back in October. So all those feelings that we get, and we eye roll, or we feel a certain way, this is where the breath is important. Pause and breathe. You don't necessarily have to do that breath that I told you. I mean, in the how do you call it, in the grocery store as you're at the store trying to purchase presents, right? But you can go ahead and calm down. I know that when we in the trigger moment and somebody say calm down, it's like, wait, you calm down, right? So that's not what I'm saying, but it's self-consciousness of I'm being a little bit agitated. Oh, I'm feeling a certain way. Pause, breathe. And if you are like me, you can also ask and say, Source, God, divine light, infinite intelligence, transmute the feelings that I'm experiencing right now into love. Meaning, take all of that energy or emotion that is not serving me and bring it to the light, meaning just go ahead and transform it into nothingness. It is not like you're not honoring yourself. It's like, wait, this is not serving me. Why am I even upset about traffic? Why am I upset about this? Well, just let it go and bring it to the light. Pause and breathe. And pause. I have been practicing more of the pause because going back home, that's trigger, just in general. So I've already done my pre-Thanksgiving moments of being around home when I'm used to being by myself. So pause. If it's one thing you would take out of this moment that I just shared, this section, hear my voice that will change into yours eventually, I'm sure. Pause and breathe. And allow yourself to Do like a switch. Light on, light off. I am into the light, or I'm deciding to stay in darkness because I want to remain upset. I want to change everything into love so I can turn the light on. And that light on is a new breath, a divine breath. Invite that breath in. So I'm trusting this information, this insight, this remembering of what breath is has been helpful, and that you carry it with yourself today for the rest of the month, for the rest of the year, and the days to come. Thank you so much.